Imagine Rhodes. Around 14 AD. You're on a cliff edge, wind off the sea. An astrologer has just told his client, an exiled power broker, that he will soon be emperor. Big prediction. Then the client turns the tables. What about your fate, right now? The astrologer runs his own chart, line by line, and sees it. Immediate, fatal danger. Could the stars get you killed? In Rome, that wasn't a metaphor. It was a calculation. What happens next? Let's find out in this episode of History of Astrology. Could the stars get you killed? Inside Rome's astrology. Star signs, synastry, Leo suns, it all feels very modern, right? But astrology's roots run thousands of years deep, and for centuries it shaped real decisions in the ancient world. So here's the sharper question for today. Could the stars get you killed? What can we learn from an old system that people once treated as a matter of survival? I'm Nora, your host. I fell for traditional astrology 5 years ago, and its history keeps revealing how humans use the sky to make sense of power, risk, and meaning. Quick rewind. Last episode, we explored how the Hellenistic melting pot built the fourfold system, planets, signs, houses, aspects, that modern astrologers still use. Now we're heading to the seat of empire, Rome. In this episode, we'll see how astrology wasn't just poetry, it was politics, calculation, and sometimes the difference between life and death. Ready to find out how Rome turned stargazing into a high-stakes game? In Rome, astrology wasn't just intriguing, it was lethal. Read the sky correctly and you could rise to the inner circle. Read the wrong chart or speak it aloud, and you could lose your head. Ask yourself, if a birth chart could outline an emperor's fate, who controlled the future? The ruler or the reader? By 27 BC, astrology in Rome was a polished machine, philosophy woven to technique. Astrologers claimed they could map your career, your relationships, your temperament, and yes, even the length of your life and the timing of your death. Powerful? Absolutely. Safe? Not remotely. Predict the end of the wrong man, and you might be predicting your own. So let's test the system where it mattered most, the imperial arena. We'll see how 3 of Rome's power players used astrology, and how this science of the heavens became the empire's royal art of life and death. Ready? Let's start at the top. Augustus, Rome's first emperor. He rises from the wreckage of the Republic, consolidates power in one pair of hands, and then asks a very Roman question: how do you prove you're meant to rule? Answer: you make the stars say it. Augustus did something no one had done before. He published his natal chart. Imagine the message in a culture where astrological symbols were common knowledge. Don't take my word for it. The cosmos already signed off. Would you argue with an emperor or with his chart? And he didn't stop there. He claimed Capricorn and stamped the goatfish onto imperial coins. Why Capricorn? Think seasonally. In the northern hemisphere, the sun in Capricorn marks the turn after the winter solstice, when light begins to return. After years of civil war and darkness, Augustus casts himself as the return of daylight, stability, order, renewal. Do you see the political math? Symbolism plus astronomy equals legitimacy. By hardwiring astrology into his public image, Augustus didn't just use the stars, he normalized them at the highest level. If the emperor grounds his authority in the sky, who below him dares to dismiss it? In Rome, that move didn't just burnish a brand, it calibrated fate. Back to that cliff on Rhodes. The astrologer? Thrasyllus. The client? Tiberius, not yet emperor, just an exiled, suspicious power broker with a lethal habit. Consult an astrologer, then throw him off the cliff. A test, or a cleanup. Thrasyllus has just told Tiberius something audacious. You will succeed, Augustus. Imagine delivering that line to a man who might kill you for being wrong or right. Would you have said it? Tiberius, impressed but paranoid, flips the question. What does your chart say about you? right now. Thrasyllus calculates, looks up, and, according to the story, goes pale. I am in imminent, fatal danger. In other words, the stars say I die here if you push me. And that saves him. Instead of ordering the drop, Tiberius spares him. When he becomes emperor, he makes Thrasyllus his official court astrologer, the first we know of in Rome. What does that tell you? In this world, astrology isn't decoration. It's infrastructure. Under Tiberius, the stars become tools of state. Astrology informs war and politics, and, more chillingly, it can target enemies. Read a man's natal chart, read his destiny, and decide his fate. In Rome, the right prediction could secure your place at the emperor's side. The wrong one could send you over the edge. An astrologer at court was a brilliant asset and a loaded weapon, for the emperor and for everyone orbiting him. Take Thrasyllus. As historian Tamsin Barton notes, he may have saved lives by telling Tiberius he had years left. Why would that matter? In Rome, if a natal chart hinted at imperial potential, that person could look like a threat. If the emperor felt safe, suspects might be spared. If he felt cornered, people died. See how a single forecast could tilt the scales? Enter Balbillus, a successor with a very different signature. Some, like Chris Brennan, suggest he may have been Thrasyllus' son, which tells you astrology could run in families. Balbillus rose high, court astrologer to Claudius, Nero, and Vespasian, high priest of Hermes in Alexandria, even head of the museum and library there. When he died, Ephesus held festivals in his honor for nearly 2 centuries. Power recognizes power. But here's the pivot that fits our title. During Nero's reign, an ominous comet appeared. Balbillus advised the emperor to eliminate senators to ward off the danger the omen implied. That's the inverse of Thrasyllus' protective strategy. Some historians branded Balbillus a man of unquenchable malice, blaming his astrological council for many deaths. So, could the stars get you killed in Rome? Depending on who read them and who listened, the answer was yes. Here's the Roman plot twist. The issue wasn't belief versus skepticism. Astrology was taken seriously because it was powerful, and in Rome, power was dangerous. Put yourself in an emperor's sandals. If someone can predict when you'll die, how quickly does that become a weapon? Could conspirators time a coup for your weakest hour? Could rivals claim their own charts prove they're destined to replace you? See the problem? As Augustus aged, in 11 AD he banned private astrological consults, especially about anyone's death. Translation: no forecast that could fuel rumors or revolts about his end. And the chill deepened. Under Tiberius, Marcus Scribonius Libo Drusus was accused of using astrologers and magicians against the imperial family. He killed himself before trial. The Senate then issued a decree against astrologers and executed 2 men for practicing the art. Sound abrupt? It wasn't new. As early as 139 BC, astrologers were banished from Rome. They were later allowed back, but acceptance rose and fell with the politics of the moment. In Rome, knowing the stars could guide you to safety or mark you for elimination. Here's a very Roman solution to a very Roman problem. By the 4th century, the astrologer senator Firmicus Maternus writes in the Mathesis that no astrologer can predict an emperor's future. Why? Because the emperor is above the planets, closer to God than to the stars. Now ask yourself, is that a metaphysical claim? Or a survival strategy? Firmicus isn't denying astrology's power, he's shielding the people who practice it. If anyone thinks you're casting charts about the emperor's life or death, you're in danger. So what's safer than a forecast? A rule: emperors are off limits. Put them beyond the reach of the heavens, and maybe you keep your head. We live in a different world now, or do we? It's hard to imagine leaders executing people over a birth chart. Yet in Rome, astrology was taken with deadly seriousness. Could the stars get you killed? In that world, yes. And before you file this under ancient problems, remember, astrologers have advised modern leaders too. Ronald Reagan is the famous example. Maybe less has changed than we think. Back to Rome. Look at the contrast. Thrasyllus honored for reading the sky, Libo and his astrologers executed for the same act. What made the difference? Use and control. Augustus used astrology to legitimize power. Tiberius tested Thrasyllus on a cliff's edge. Balbillus urged Nero to purge after a comet. This wasn't entertainment or personality quizzes. It was knowledge, and in Rome, knowledge was power. What do you make of the Roman approach? How does it differ from how astrology is used now? And here's the hard question. If astrologers can predict the future, should that knowledge be regulated? Thanks for traveling Rome's star roads with me today. Like and subscribe and share your thoughts below. Next time, we turn to Marcus Manlius and the oldest surviving complete treatise on the art, Astronomica. Bye.